Hey, Raheem.
Hey Mauro, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Uh, Fine in this morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. I was looking forward to talking to you because you are a very well connected person in the industry. Maybe it would be good to have you give a short description of yourself.
Well, that's pretty easy. I walk on the footsteps of a big man because I'm working in his company. I work at Sensi Seeds, so the seed bank, a famous seed bank. I'm doing over there mostly multimedia content, and it's now 8 years that I'm over there. So that's my job at Sensi Seeds.
The first subject I wanted to ask you about is how do you look at the weed experiment that they're wanting to do here in the Netherlands?
So there's multiple points on that are to discuss for me because the rules are pretty clear. You need to be able to produce, I think, 6.5 ton of cannabis per year. I also know that you need to rent the structure that they call a farm. So to somebody who is Dutch, who is living in this country. So there is multiple steps that you need to follow to be able to register yourself. But which is not clear for me is what to do with what you produce. Because, for example, I don't know, maybe there is something that I didn't saw it about if you can produce hash, for example. And I know you can produce edibles also with the 6.5 ton that you did. But the problem with edibles is that in Netherlands, for example, you know that anything that comes with a liquid or something that is gonna help you to dissolve
Mm.
is forbidden. So, for example, you cannot make the butter here.
Yep.
So, what does that mean? That means that if we need to do edible, you need to grind directly into the food. I mean, there is obviously, a lot of sites that were not covered just because the knowledge is not enough by the people who did the program, I think. So, I hope that everything is going to be corrected with the interventions of the multiple people who invested in that because this is a larger industry. It's a lot of money to put, so it's not a little producer who are targeted. It's people who have already the power to invest. So those people might maybe correct the shot or not, but for me, it's a bit really like an experiment of an experiment, not even an experiment, I will call that.
A small correction I can make is that the 6,500 kilos per year, they later changed this that it was not a necessity, but it will be rather driven by supply and demand. Luckily, because it would have made it impossible for any craft cannabis to exist.
Exactly, first. And if really your goal is to produce hash, then should you not get the 1 to 10 times the amount of plant allowed? Because you know that 1 kilo of this marvelous plant will make 100 grams of this marvelous hash. So you have to process a lot more in order to access to the same weight of product.
Yeah, we recently at our meeting of the foundation had a long discussion also about this subject, about specifically the hash in the experiment, because right now what they want you to do, or what the government wants growers to do, is to make half of their harvest into hash and actually sell it to the same prices as the weed.
Exactly. So this is where this is coming from back in the day. I mean, isolator when I discovered it first, like maybe 20 years ago in Netherlands, it was called nether hash.
Mm.
It was something that was made to stop the import from the producing countries from the hash to have an internal economy, even if it was just a tolerated one. So this never took because the Moroccan hash always kept its place in the culture with people. The isolator is a product that is very strong, and if it's not well done, it's not nice to consume actually. And you know that better than a lot of people. You know, you've been to cup with me, so you know how it is. Not everybody is able to support both the same way. The hash have more entourage effect, more calm. Isolator is something which is a concentrate. Not even if it's not an extraction, it's a
Mhm.
concentrate, so it's a bit stronger. So even if you produce ice here, I understand the fact that they want to produce high to lower price because this is what the market needs, especially if you take in consideration this petition that ask to not allow tourists anymore in the shops because let's be honest, 90% of the fence is trained and extractions and things like that are directly made for the customers who are from abroad, the tourists. The locals are not consuming this kind of substance because they smoke in their daily life, and it's maybe too much, probably too much to assume when you have to go to job. Also, you have to know your substance. So yes, the isolator is a problem, a cultural problem since the beginning. And you definitely cannot produce 5 to 10 times the same amount of plant in order to get a product that is gonna be sell the same price as the product you use to make it. It's like you make a concentrate and then you have to sell it the same price as the first product you used to make it. Make no sense. It makes no sense, and it's not even related to the market. It's like they ask you to make a luxe car and they ask you to sell it for the price of a Twingo, right? Yes. So this is where I said it's an experiment of an experiment because it's the same in marketing for this kind of business in the cannabis industry. Like you don't have real data that you can access to see what is the behavior of our customers, what is the habits of the normal shop. You don't have data nowhere to let the people who are not connected with that scene understand how the development of this new product is going. And if you put next to that the fact that they don't want the people from the first hour, so the pioneers, to help on that, because for so many years they were illegal warriors or flirting with the law, you know, like the loophole. That those people don't want to implicate the person who made this market emerged. This is where it's really, really, really sad. Like they have the best expert around, but they rather take somebody who worked with those experts to advise them than the expert themselves. Of course, it's very difficult when you have people who know the product. If you want to do something with it, they will tell you how. So, and I don't think the government want that.
No, that seems to be a real problem thanks to that we already have these coffee shops and that we then want to legalize it instead of like in the States, in the United States, where there were no coffee shops, there was only the black market, and then they made it legal so they could build something from the ground up.
True. But you see how it's going over there. Most of the American people, a lot of them are going back to the black market, unfortunately.
Yeah, also because of prices simply,
Uh,
because the outdoor weed from California is just so competitive in price that one of my previous guests, James Burton, even suggested that to really do it at a large scale and have prices that are good, the only way to produce it is outside.
yes, yes, outdoor, exactly.
Curious what you think about this also, because he said also if you would produce in a greenhouse or indoor, you're always going to have to use pesticides.
That's it. That's it. It's like remind me a post I did not so long ago. That was a kind of funny for a friend because we had this conversation where you don't know that in your regular tea bags they allow something around 7% of dead body insects in your tea bags. So if they do that for your regular tea bag, yeah, I'll let you imagine what's gonna be your next regular wheat bag. But this is things you cannot avoid if you grow outdoor. True. But would you squeeze for the medicinal reason? Okay, we control this plant in a controlled environment. We give her the best way of growing, of developing herself, etc. But even a laboratory like Besproken or people who are producing in this kind of scam, they have
Mm.
to at the end pass the weed to the gamma ray or things like that in order to avoid the remaining of those insects, even inside. Because don't think that on the outside you're gonna have insects problems. even if you control very good, there is a lot of structures who have like a lot of different products coming in just because environment, somebody who's not taking seriously the safety mode that we have before to go on the plane, to put a new clothes, to put the cover of the shoes, the cover of the hair. And then you have a lot of indoor producer legal that have this problem also, and to avoid it they just found this. They passed the weed to gamma ray. I mean, okay, it's killing every microbe and things like that, but I'm not a fan neither. I think like it's years and years. When you grow outdoor, you always have contaminant, whatever it is. The thing is, there is some stuff that they cannot do, like that you can clean your weed just when you cut it and put it in the water and then put it back to dry in order to take off everything that fall simply from the sky and from everywhere on your plant. But can you imagine on a greenhouse with 1,000 and 1,000 of plants? It's something you cannot just throw them on the swimming pool and take them back after. So that's the problem of the bugs and the insects are unfortunately something that will always be there. I know a lot of the Canadian weed that is imported at the moment, people speak a lot about it, that there is insect inside. But yes, there is insect sometimes, but this is the only country you like produce outdoor in greenhouse since years and years and years. There are the heavy culture of that. So I think if we do the same in Netherlands, it's going to be the same. This guy is completely correct. Anywhere in the world, if you go outdoor, you're going to have this problem like really big. If you go indoor, don't think that means you will not have this problem. We know that, unfortunately. Name it, dynamite, etc.
Have you ever smoked something good out of Canada since legalization?
Yes. Strangely, there is something with all this Cali and these Canadian imports. First of all, the Cali for me is super strange because if you make just a timeline, so I don't know how it went, but if you check on the timeline, when the USA had to stop to use the PGR and they had to take off from the dispensary tons and tons and tons of cannabis that couldn't be sold. Strangely, we started to add a lot of cannabis coming our way. A lot. And you know that. Weed we saw was completely different. Super compact, no trichrome outside, because obviously the reason of when you have quantity, you cannot trim by hand like the Dutch do. You have to trim with a strong machine that's taking a lot of the trichromes out. And this weed was sold to like incredible expensive price. I mean, first time it reached Amsterdam, it was something like between 55 to 35 euro for a gram, where a regular gram in Amsterdam is between 7 to 15. So if you speak about industry and market, if you think about it, that's just magic what happened. We sold for them golden price something that cannot be sold in their country. So first of all, we got all the weed full of PGR, and second of all, we sold it super expensive, or we bought it super expensive price. So that means we bought what was not possible to consume for the American people. I mean, I love American people, but you know that we don't have the same regulation neither in terms of food, environment, etc. And if they stop to use PGR over there, that means something. Don't take it light. But that means this is dangerous somewhere, you know. Mm-hmm. And then we have all this stuff coming here, and we have to, see the tourists enjoying it because they've never been sensibilized to real grass. So they come and it's becoming a fashion. I mean, that's the first time I see marketing taking over seriously on the cannabis industry that quick. We found weed in a tuna can. It was a revolution. People had to get the tuna can. It became an item to put on the table, like you have a golden chain or something like that. So people keeping the can and changing the weed inside just to. So all of that for us is new behaviors because we never been exposed to that kind of fashion thing concerning the product we had to hide for years. Maybe not in Netherlands, but me, I'm French, as you can hear. And all the people I know from the other countries the same. We had how to say a contact with the product that was a bit the forbidden fruit, the forbidden product. So we had to whisper when we talked about it. When I came in Amsterdam, it took me 2 years to keep my joint normally like cigarettes. You smoke a cigarette in the terrace. I was hiding it for 2 years by reflex. So this is where the people who come from this first time of consummation that started in this kind of condition, when they get exposed to something that is marketed like a normal product, the gap is so big that yes, you assimilate that and take it as your pair of Nike or any other brand that you wear on you, and you are put it so far from the product that at the end you don't know even how it started. The seed, the soil, the water, the nutrient, etc. All of that, you're so far from it because they put the product in a can for you ready to consume it. It's not you see the plant anymore or you see a lot of it. No, you have this can with 3.5 gram on it, 10 point. You go back home with that. So very strange, but very efficient. Very efficient. And the people in the state go back to the black market simply because also the potency most of the time, because it's normal. When you grow for yourself and for a bunch of people, and tomorrow we ask you to grow for thousands and thousands of people, of course you cannot have the same results on 1,000 plant than 100. You cannot take the same care. You have to make automatization. You have to trust on the new way of growing massively. So that's also impact a lot, I think, on the consumption.
Now, you mentioned already that you are living in Amsterdam already for a while. I'm just curious because I haven't been to Amsterdam in a while. What is happening now with the cannabis culture there, the coffee shop culture? Because there's both the Corona crisis and the law that made the tobacco inside the joints illegal in the coffee shops.
I think the movement on the coffee shop from the government and the municipality are pretty clear, unfortunately. I don't know how many times this culture will stand in those conditions unless we have a big movement of activism again that come to step up. And I heard some people, including you, are already on that. That's the thing is that here, no tourists, coffee shop, if you think about it now that you have to get the mask inside the shops and you can take the mask off to drink, to eat, but not to smoke. So that means they become again a counter. They cannot let people sit down inside. If you put this plus the fact that there is no tourist, so obviously their rhythm is going really down. And to finish, you have for the I think maybe on my timeline, first time on the history that I see a penury of hash in Amsterdam. For example, the regular classic, really good Belgia that was like between 7 and 9 euro is now 15 euro on the menu because nothing else is passing by since Morocco don't export anymore since a long time. So the situation is a bit complicated for them because also we had a really warm, as you know, period in Netherlands. So also the producer around us, I think, have been impacted. So it's really, really difficult for them to maintain the business and just on the level of daily routine. But on the top of that, with the regulations that are coming from the city, the request to make it not allowed to the tourists, it's really hard, I think, for them at the moment. I mean, if I was a coffee shop owner and I had a bit of money on the side, I don't think I will remain here so long, or I will revisited my formula. I think because we don't know how long it's gonna be before it's go better.
And then there's also the problem that they want to ban the tourists from coming inside. Indeed, it's the world is upside down. Like a friend of mine told me, Amsterdam without weed would be like Italy without pizza.
That's the thing. Unfortunately, and for the good of this country, somewhere, even if it's unfortunately for us, I don't think Netherlands need this at all. Everybody think yes, if they cut the coffee shop, they're gonna lose money. No, guys. Netherlands is going very good in import, export, especially export, petrochemy, etc., etc. A lot, so they don't need money of that. And if you think about it, I'm sorry to kill the myth or the legend a bit, but yeah, I've been the first guy who came in here and with a car and friends, sleeping in a car, go in the coffee shop. Burger King. Sorry, I don't love them. And go back. So that means if you think about it, you come, you don't even spend maybe the parking spot, maybe because yeah, back in the days your car could fly in 5 minutes. You put the money on a coffee shop. Some coffee shop are playing the game and are declaring everything. Some not. We all know that. Then you don't eat, you don't go museum, you don't nothing. You don't bring anything to this city. If you take a family or an old person, yes, you have you pay his flight. You don't come with a car with 5%. You go to restaurant, you go to museum, you buy 2, 3 souvenir. So yes, this person is more interesting for the city. Unfortunately, it's working like that because of this notion that like the coffee shop tolerated and not legal. Because of course, if the coffee shop were legal and you could make a marketing analyze of how much they bring to the city, you will be pretty consequent. It's enormous, but it's Amsterdam. It's just Amsterdam. There is a lot of other cities who are working very good in Netherlands, so it's really a drop of water in the middle of the country. This is where people need to understand why they have the right to think like that also. I mean, at the beginning, it was a toleration for the people of Netherlands, not for the world. The culture and the psychological social position of the Netherlands back in the days allowed foreigners to come and to find what they couldn't find in their place. But that was the mentality, the spirit of Netherlands that allowed that. At the end, when you have the repercussion of a massive immigration, even if it's provisory, you know what I mean? Because the tourists, they immigrate. When they come, they stay there, and you see them. It's not that they're discreet somewhere. It's normal also to have the waves, the fallbacks of all of that. Unfortunately, I don't think, like you said, this is what also makes the image of Netherlands, is this spirit, this mentality of allowing people to get what was forbidden somewhere else. That's the only thing who made me a bit sad when I see it dropping, because it's a bit like when we were kid and we had this American dream. We came back from it. Yes, sorry, but that's a bit the same feeling for me as an expatriate, you know. Like you come for something and you see this something sleeping slowly. But it's not sleeping from the people who live here every day, it's sleeping from the people who want to invest here and take over the business. Because they don't want nobody around there managing cannabis except them. When the legalization is come, I'm not even sure we have the right to fucking, sorry for that, grow a plant.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because if you sell me a pen, I'm the first user, first contact to sell me a pen. I don't know nothing about the plant. I'm 1,000 kilometers from what is used to make it. I mean, I was in the States and I show a very nice weed to two kids from a friend of mine. And they saw the weed and they tell me, wow, nice pre-run. And I'm like, what? Nice what? Pre-run. It's just something that you have to run, you know, like to blast or to make something out of it, but you cannot use the weed almost in their head. It's not something you smoke. So this is also the problem of this kind of culture. Is like very putting us very very far from the beginning, where you had this love with the plant first, where you've been introduced to a plant, not to a single product. You have two ways of starting that are very important for people in their life. You start with somebody who want to get stupid high, or you start with somebody who try to inform you about the product a bit like it's the same with the wine. Are you going to get drunk? Are you going to try to taste and understand what you are drinking and how it was made? So this is two philosophies completely different. And unfortunately, you have different behavior regarding the same product because of that, like everything. So Amsterdam at the moment is a bit complicated because nobody in the street. So that's the lovely part, because it's long time we couldn't enjoy the city. So we understand the feeling of the people who live here for years, of course. But at the same time, I don't know. It's not really the Amsterdam that everybody know neither. So how it's gonna work after, I don't know. It's like also for the normal industries. I mean, a lot of people went back because of Corona, so a lot of job lost. I mean, just Schiphol, I think 3,000 people are gonna get fired. If you take no expat, no people working, or at least way less, it's going to be something totally different again in 2 months. So I invite you to come and check again in 2 months. You might have changed a lot, unfortunately. So very quiet.
I've already seen also that some cannabis cups from around Amsterdam have already announced that they will do an edition sometime soon. Do you think they're actually going to happen? And if so, how do you see the future of these cannabis cups?
I don't know. At the moment, I think it's a bit irresponsible to make like a live event, because I don't say there is something bad out there or there is not. I don't want you to come in this polemic. I know that in our community we have different kind of users, and when we meet like this, we all meet together. That means the guy you want to get high, stupid high is there. The guy you want to handle is there, or compete is there, and the medicinal user is there. The medicinal user is there because he's always looking to get something potent that will help him with his disease or the symptoms he has. Those people are more fragile than us, and it's not fair to make something where they could be exposed to a lot of tourists who are going from everywhere, and at the same times putting them in trouble to maybe not being able to go back to their home without making a quarantine. If we start like this, it's enough already. So after that, it's sad because that doesn't mean nothing should happen. Obviously, for the reason everybody knows, whatever, when those cups are organized, a lot of the competitors send their entry. So why not making everybody edition from home? And maybe it's even gonna have a positive impact at the end, because the way of judging is never the same when you have somebody whispering in your ears or when you are alone at home making what you have to do. So for the judge also, it can be a reflection point that is not bad. Maybe the time will be longer because sometimes on some cup, you know how it is. It's difficult to organize. You don't want to stay too long, so you have to do everything on a day. Most of the people ask me how you do to try 70 sample on a day. It's like we don't smoke it all if it's necessary. It's like sommelier for the wine. It's the same. People need to understand that the one who smoked everything, whatever, is not able to judge anymore. So this is the point. So I'm really confident on how our community will react, because we've grown and took care about this plant in the shadow for so many years that something like that will not stop the people who are working on that, because it's a lifestyle. It's not just a commercial operation. Obviously, I hope that all the people who are making fake cups and unorganized bullshit that are going the other way of what we want, yes, I hope they are gonna disappear in the middle, of course. Because on this moment, if it was a little scam before, I think during Corona, it's everything's gonna be just bigger.
Now you've been here for quite a while in the Netherlands, and but you're originally from France. In those years that you've been here, has there been any change in France that you can say?
Yes, yes. To my big surprise, France have been way more upfront what is existing on the market, like a term of strain and product, like solid or wax, crumble. Since Instagram and American marketing, I have to say, we saw people coming back from France to get their cannabis, and then all of a sudden, most of them not coming anymore. Means a lot of network start to work in the black market again, sending things directly to your home, not even having interaction with nobody. So they took this Corona thing also as an opportunity, because yes, of course, even for Dutch people, which was funny to explain you the culture here before France, is that the day they announced the coffee shop closed, I never had so much call from Dutch people. A lot of my friends call me to ask me what to do. Do you know somebody who have something? If the shop closed, I'm fucked. For me, it was a big, strange situation, because that means Netherlands did so good by letting Dutch people go by it normally that they desolidarizate from the little producer and the black market. And all of a sudden, with all the decision taken by the government, you see everything that was on the side under the carpet, that was fixed, that was working good those years, coming back. So this politic at the moment favorize the black market to come back in Netherlands. Because if you buy a gram at 15 euro on the shop, the day those shop closed and they found the people on the street selling, it was 9 euro for what you paid 15. Why would you go back? It's a bit the same with France. Now that they have access to the product for a lower price, why would they come back? Because it's more difficult for them now. When they come here, they park, they get a fine, they do that, they cannot drink, they cannot, yeah. So you see the situation for them is completely different. So they don't have to move from home anymore. They have everything coming from the States, and like here, everything changed. Everything changed in this fact. And France, they will come back because of the spirit of Netherlands. They will come back because of the image of the Netherlands. And this is what is funny. They will not come back for the weed anymore. It's the trip of smoking the weed in Amsterdam. It's like you go in the States and they're gonna have a trip with a freaking horrible Coca-Cola in front of the Statue of the Liberty.
Mm.
But they have Coca-Cola at home. It's just the trip of drinking it here because this is where it was made. And this is the same. They're gonna find that back here, and it's going in pieces a bit. So they don't find this pleasure anymore. So they come a bit less. As soon as the politics change here, I think everybody will be happy to find back this freedom feeling of Netherlands. At the moment, it's a bit changing. Even the police change a lot of rules. Like you have a sign of richness. If you have a big watch, they can ask you how you bought it and how you paid it, and if you have an electric bike as well. And now they don't need a warrant anymore to control you or come inside your house. if they hear something, they can come in. So it's a bit like the States. It's turning a bit like the States. All the, here, look, as a French guy, I've never been controlled by police here in the Netherlands. It's 10 years I'm here. I've never been imported by a police officer. When I was in France, it was every 2 days. So this is where I hope France will not melt. The French spirit will not melt into the Netherlands. But you have so many foreigners. That's where you have to increase a bit the rules. Also, it's just sad that they do it like this. So yeah, France is not the same as before Corona at all, for sure.
It's also typical, how in all the reports that you read about cannabis use and how much it differs from countries, that France is always on top, while they obviously have no legalization there.
Yes, it's always been like that. I think also we have just if you take just smoke, like cigarette, we also in the same kind of proportion. So I think the getaway drug here is the cigarette, not the cannabis.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. That's the thing, because we don't have the contact with the weed super easily now. Yes, but before it was not the case. It was much more easier to have like a hash than to have weed in France. The weed guy was the lord of the neighborhood, Yes, completely. And the argument was, I have this Dutch one. That was the top quality certification, AOC,
Now we talked about hash before, and I know you and as well as myself, we both like smoking hash from Morocco, or any hash really. But like we already said in this experiment, they want to do it here, and many of the arguments I get from the long-time smokers, who are, let's say, twice my age, they will always say, but we are gonna miss this Moroccan hash, and they're gonna miss this Pakistan or Afghani. That's all nice and true, but you and I both know that in the United States, this hash, it was there in little amounts, but they created now a system in which they produce their own hash, and what the products that they are making, some of them are quite incredible. So in a way, it is possible, but do you think people are really going to miss that Moroccan hash when the only thing that they have available is what's being produced there?
The thing, thank you for that question, because it's a complicated one, but makes sense. The thing is that they produce something that is new. They push the extraction, the production, however you call it, to the maximum, American style. What we're gonna lose is the savoir-faire. What we're gonna lose is the biodiversity. Because if you think about it like that, Belgium was a magnificent plant with some properties. Never go above 15, even less percent of THC. So what happened in that ash that you love and I love happened by the process of that plant. So something happened during the process. We all know that there is a new terpene that is created when you make hash. Now, if you consider the entourage effect, on one side we have a trial test by people on the black market of this hash on a period of, let's say, 50, 100 years, 1,000 years. And we know what are the virtue and the positive points of this. But it's made with one specific plant on a specific land with a specific weather conditions. What we do now have from the States is something that is most of the time created in the lab, even if the plant are grown outdoor. After, when you go for the extraction process or etc., it's on a much more safer environment. So you push everything to the maximum, but with new strains that are, most of them, F1, which means they are plants who are feminized. They are plants who are made from plants who are already, because they thought they were dyed, protect themselves and produce feminized seeds. How? Naturally or not? It's not the question at the moment. that means that the plant herself don't have the same cycle, don't take the sun, etc. I would be very curious to see if a patient that for 20 years found this hash that works for him, like the combination of THC, CBD, the cocktail that is good for his symptoms. I will be curious to make him try 10 or 20 of the new hash produced in lab to see if he gets the same relief, if he gets the same balance. Why I say balance? Because if you have something that is very, very, very strong, because I respect that, that's beautiful what they do, but I don't think I could smoke like I smoke daily with this kind of product.
Mhm.
You have also to separate the daily user from the occasional recreational user at this point, because the Moroccan hash every day when when you finish work and you can take care about the kid, you can say hello to your friend, you're not as social. But take a dab of wax, I think I want to be alone. So the way of consumption is also very, very, very important. So that's why those products are wonderful, are beautiful, but we all know that we need to find the cocktail of cannabinoids that correspond to us. If you ask 3 times to somebody why is he smoking, the first time it's going to be, I don't know, I smoke, it's fun. The second time, okay, why are you smoking? I told you it's fun, and I don't know. It's like my friend doing good stuff. It's cleaner, okay. And ask a third time, it's going. I don't know. It helped me to eat. It helped me to sleep. There it is. Most of the time, people don't realize what these products bring to the balance of their life also. So I don't say it's good for everybody. Don't get me wrong. I don't say it's a miracle, but the people who need it usually find the substance they need to go through their day. This is the angle I can consider. But you want to have party and you want to get fucked up, well, it's a different talk. Like everybody can have it, and then the hash is gonna be go for the state one, go for extraction, and all. Of course, you're gonna have the roller coaster effect. If you look for something that is more handleable, something that goes more with your daily routine, then I will recommend more to go with something that proved for many years that is functioning. It's not the same goal, I think, for the two industries. So that's the change that the state brought with the marketing and all. Is always more. So I'm happy to see that because we were waiting for that. But still today, I don't go for a lot of Cali strains or extractions or things like that. I'm more. My zone is more the hash and the isolator are the things that I consider like something I can still use every day. The rest, I'm not sure I would be the same man if I do it. Some other are, but I'm not shaped for that. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I completely understand. And you also mentioned indeed the concentrates on which has been basically no words about it, even in this whole weed experiment also. Even though
Exactly.
in all the states that are legalizing it, they immediately start also with doing the extractions because it also makes sense, that you would regulate something that could potentially be dangerous, even though there are many ways that you could produce it which are not dangerous at all.
Exactly, and they're gonna bring something that we never faced, and that can be super nice. Also, is that with concentrates, the only hope I see is the possibility of microdosing, and that's why I'm happy to see them going in this more with less contaminant and less. That, that's nice because somebody who don't smoke can still need the product. Somebody who cannot smoke for any reason can also need the product, and you don't want necessarily to get high or to eat a cake or a candy or so microdosing with this kind of substance and gel and all of that for patient, for me that's perfect. That's perfect. That's the only reason where I accept to be desolidarized from the original product. It's in case it's going to help a patient. In this case, yes, because I can imagine like 0.001 that you have to take in the morning, etc. They talk about that with other drugs as well, microdosing. So why not? Why not? We don't know what we're gonna discover in that field. That's why it's good that somebody is allowed to look at it at the moment. But I don't think it's gonna be in Netherlands or in France. No. The state and Israel, I think, that are the both who are working on that at the moment at the real scale, let's say. So let's see what's gonna come. But yeah, if you compare at the moment France, States, and Holland, France we have the most most people who consume the product. Netherlands you have where it's sold, and States you have where it's produced massively. So it's pretty. The map of the world changed drastically those last 10 years. It's impressive.
No, it's true for sure. Is there a subject or something that you would like to talk about we haven't talked about?
Maybe just come back a bit on the problem with the biodiversity also, because you see the experimentation. Do you know how many strains you are allowed to choose and select or things like that? Did you got on those number? I didn't.
I thought it was about 10 strains they had to be able to
Let's
produce.
see. I was not sure if it was 10 or 15. So can you imagine? It's like I'll give you one example: tobacco industry.
Mm.
You come and you have 10 brand with 10 tobacco that were selected and protected, but all the other plant of tobacco disappeared, and you cannot grow tobacco, like you cannot make alcohol. So in the process of the legalization, yes, if you put all of that together, only 10 strain, it's not possible. I mean, any coffee shop menu in Amsterdam today even have more than 10 strains sometimes, you know? So you're gonna reduce so much, and that means so many plants are gonna disappear if you don't protect them like before. That means illegally, because you will not be able to protect something that they sell legally. So this is where, for me, today what is nice is that everybody come with a crossing, with a new breeding, with a different fragrance of what you knew. Okay, most of them is done with feminized, which is I'm not a fan of. The regular for me are the basis of the breeding, but not everybody have the space, the money, all of that to have something coherent to make. So they're gonna restrain our choice to 10 specific strain, and so many thousand of them behind then are gonna just disappear because you cannot use them anymore. That's where it's super sad. You cannot say to people only those 10 strain are good for you. Yeah, we don't know which cannabinoids works the best in people, and they need to try as much as they can.
Well, it is, looking it up, it's indeed at least 10 different kind of strains they have to be able to produce, but there are going to be 10 growers, so there are going to be at least 100 different strains unless they also grow the same ones, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like that's where it's a bit sad for me. It's
Mm,
like obviously we're gonna have cross train, and then you're gonna have a competition of you'll have another light from them or from them or from them. As the names are not copyrighted neither, you cannot
mm,
protect name for that. Then yeah, we'll see where it goes. I hope they're gonna correct a bit that, or at least I hope that the growers and the guy who invest on them gonna make a smart pick. I hope they can compare the list, you know, because if they all come with the same list of strength, then we are in the trouble.
mm. Well, I want to thank you for this wonderful and interesting conversation. And you were now my ninth podcast guest and the third one in English. So I'm very happy you wanted to do this.
We did our best in English, boss. Thank you for inviting me. It was a very nice conversation. Also, I got to say, podcast is very interesting. 9, I cannot follow them all because my Dutch is a bit rusty. But I love the initiative, and I hope you have many, many more. It's needed, really needed. So thank you again.
Super. I hope you have a great day.
You too.